And there were a couple nuances throughout the components based on syntax or structure, but basically they were all the same. So you can check these out up on the links that we'll share, and here's how the application looked. I built an application with heroes and villains. And the heroes application, if I call to our heroes, here it is for React. And then here it is for Angular. And then here it is for Vue. All three applications written from scratch, using those different technologies to get a feel for how those applications work. So feel, which one feels best to you? There must be one. We all use something out there. Maybe it's not one of these three at all, it's something different entirely, something coming down the road. But the one that feels best for you is important for you to hold on to and to understand it, to really challenge your own questions about how you ask about these. Challenge yourself to stop thinking about the technical and think more about how it makes you feel when you use these. It'll also give you greater empathy for those who feel differently about how they feel when they use these. Life's an education. It's learned mostly through on your. I love this quote. Just like the burning stove. Somebody can tell us what to use. Use React. Use Vue. Use Svelte. Use Angular. But you will learn so much more by discovering it on your own. Try it yourself. Here's the links for the three of these, and I'll share these on the internet later today, or you can grab a screenshot. All these GitHub repo.
Okay, I think there'll be enough for now. But you all get the point of the video? Anyone can tell me the point of the video?
No.
Yeah, choose what you like. You know, the technology doesn't matter, right? So although yes, this will be a Google event, Google developers event, but you know the point is this. You know, make sure whatever technology you choose is something that you like working with, right? Something that you enjoy working with, and something that you want to learn, rather than something that I got to learn React, I got to learn Angular, right? Now, I know a lot of the things that were presented in the video mostly flew over most of your heads, right? So don't worry about that. Okay. What I wanted you to get was the main point that once you learn Angular, it's very easy to move into frameworks. I myself started from AngularJS from scratch. I moved into Angular, and then I learned that for about 2 years, Angular. Then beginning of the year, I actually started learning React. No, actually not beginning of the year. Middle of the year, I started learning React, and I had to build another app for scratch until production. So because I knew Angular, I was able to build an app in React. So the concepts that are presented, and you will probably learn by yourself, and you look at React, you probably need to, once you get it, you can actually use it across the board. Okay. Now I know the video was a bit long, so I'll give you a 10-minute break. Alright. I know it's just half an hour, but I think it's good to have a break for now. Okay. So just have a 10-minute break. Let's get back by 7:40.
Apa ni? Masuk internet atau?
Ada internet?
Tak okay.
Tak ada okey.
Nanti ada dia.
Tak ada internet.
Meeting room?
Meeting room bilik 703.
Boleh tak? Oh, 703.
Pakai laptop.
Tak kena. Tak kena.
Tak ada internet? Apa ni? Wi-Fi. CS Lab, SS 300. Betul? SS 300. Kau pakai apa? Tengah CS Lab. Bilik, bukan. SS.
SS.
AK.
Oh, SS Melayu. Betul?
G300.
G.
Ada internet? Tak ada. CS tengok.
Meeting room?
Bilik
703.
Oh.
So aku nak share kau, aku nak download.
Kau pakai aku punya.
Kena Lepas tu
Lepas tu
1 sampai 9.
109 kita dapat baca sah.
Aku selalu confuse kita pasal
Kau tak ada ni internet.
oh, dia kena. Aku ada.
Boleh pakai. Hei.
Asal?
Tak tahu.
Okay, OBS.
Hah? On.
Dia
Macam mana zoom? Ada banyak. Ada banyak lagi. Oh.
hobi kecil saya. Cuba titik. Tadi balik dah.
Tak balik.
Tak pergi kelas ke?
Tak, dia mana pergi kelas.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Kau tak pakai. Kau pergi sepuluh dulu sih.
Awak teruk bila tu. Datang nak streaming ni.
Orang tadi agak tak kabel.
Tak, dia stay pakai kabel lagi.
Oh.
Cuma dia tunjuk wifi lah.
Calculator.
Bawah.
Tadi dah
Tegang
tapi
sangat.
dia
Tegang ni.
ha?
Try.
Buka. Nanti ni.
Tengok. Bawah tu kot. Tengok dia. Wah, dia mahal.
Pakai.
Tu anda.
Okay.
Ya, aku dah beli wifi tu.
Pakai aku punya wifi.
Okay, get your laptops or your computers. Okay, if you know HTML, of course it's best if you know HTML. No point coming to no point coming to this workshop, right? Right? If you know, with your browser, your notepad, your Visual Studio Code, whatever IDE you have, create this web page. Okay, just create this simple web page. Name is a normal text box, input box. Email is a normal input box. Comments is a text area. One horizontal line, then just three lines of text. Name, email, comments. Okay? Okay, I give you all 10 minutes to do it, right? If you need a screenshot of this, please take it because I need to use a screen. Sorry. Yeah. Quickly grab a screenshot of this, and then I'll need to use my computer. For those of you who don't know, just relax, enjoy the ride. Your Google is your friend. When you enter uni, Google is your friend. Even at work, Google is my friend. Stack Overflow is also your friend. Oh, this is just a okay, I just screenshot this thing.
Kan NG ni, Angular, generate Angular NG ni. Tak kan ni. Angular. tak ingat pun main.
Engineer, nak klik file engineer.
Ya, aku tak install dia punya Angular CLI.
Minyak. You refresh again. It should be okay. Baik.
Pasal aku nak tengok dia punya.
Yuk. Kan tadi dia bagi mock-up apa kan? Kita kena create guna HTML. Ya, sebab macam web page macam dia bagi tu. Tak pakai Illustrator cache je. Bagi HTML biasa tak apa. Mana tu? Just run dekat browser lah. Create file nama .html. Lepas tu klik, double klik tu dia keluar ke browser.
Copy. Tulis apa yang dia tulis.
Bukan guna Angular kan?
NG okay.
Mesti tak. Cik selam.
Ni nak buat apa? Test gitu.
Cik selam Syah.
Selam.
Pergi kelas Syah.
Break lah.
Cik selam.
VR.
Biar.
Basic lah. Kalau booster ni VR dah tak ada. Okay.
Dia ada slash biar tak?
VR tak payah tutup apa.
Tak tutup. Okey, dapat.
Malah design.
Orang bagi tak ada semua.
Ha? Tak basic tu.
Aku sedih.
Lagi lah tak ada HTML, tak ada body. Aku tak ubah dia heavy betul. Macam mana lah?
Kawan,
Tapi tak macam
okay. Anyone manage to get basic template like this? I think I struggle myself. Right? Okay, but basically what I want you to do, what the point of the exercise today is I want you all to when you key in a name here, it's supposed to appear here as well. Okay? Right? Does that make sense? So as I key in my name, okay, maybe it's a bit too small. Okay? So the panel, the blue panel, I've just colored panel so it's easier for you to see. The blue panel on the left is where we have our input boxes, and the panel on the right, the pink panel, is where we have our output output variables. So the idea is when I key in my name, okay, I haven't added any functionality yet. When I key in my name, what needs to happen is it needs to show on this, in this part as well. Okay? How many of you are familiar with JavaScript again? I need a count. How many of you have coded JavaScript before? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we've got 2 people at the back, 3 people in front. Okay. Maybe might not be the best time to share. But okay. Okay, now let's give the guy some time to. How long do you all? How long is it will you all take to really code one field where you change one field, you can propagate the value to the other side? How long do you think that will take you all? In Java, just pure JavaScript. Take you all? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes. Okay. For you or for those of you who don't know HTML, don't know JavaScript, I'm really sorry because you all need to know some basic JavaScript to understand what I'm doing. If not, there's no point. Alright? So I apologize in advance. Alright? I'm so sorry, but yeah, we need to have that basis. Okay? So I'll give the guys in front some time to maybe just give create one input. Okay? Where we can propagate the value from the input box to the right hand side.
Aku tak tahu.
Should be real time.
Listener.
Real time.
JavaScript
Real
engineer.
time. I'll give you a clue. You can use the event called on here. On here. Yeah, on here. You can do it. You can do it.
Contact listener tak tahu. On-chain.
Maybe I write it with you all so that it makes sense.
Like dia buat ID. Mana ada JavaScript kan? Tak mau.
Run dalam ni sini.
Aku ingat lah pakai Java.
Ambil sini.
Buat ID name. Lepas tu buat listener. Oh dia on key up lah.
Biasa kita tak aku baca belakang.
On key up. On key type pun.
Ini pun orang pakai ni
Pure JavaScript. On key up, on key down sama.
Okay, JavaScript guys, how you guys doing?
Aku tak tahu macam mana apa dia
Alright.
punya value.
1 minute. Okay. You guys alright? It works.
I don't know.
But the basic idea why I want you all to code this is so you appreciate why you use Angular in the first place. Else, you don't know why you're using Angular. Why should I use Angular if I can do this in normal JavaScript? Which I can, right? But it took me a lot more effort to write this, okay? So my 10 minutes that I spent writing this, I could actually spend 10 seconds, literally 10 seconds just writing this. That's the efficiency of it, right? Of course, behind the scenes, there's a lot of processing as well.
Yang kena
But basically what you can see here,
Ini JavaScript lah, pure JavaScript. Tulis.
so this is using normal JavaScript, right? Just normal JavaScript. So I can enter my name here. You can see it all appears, right? Now for those of you who are interested in code, contrast. Okay. Who knows how to write code? Just knows how to write code. Just any C++ code, JavaScript code, Python code, whatever code. Okay. Okay, these are more hands, alright. So at least you can appreciate the code, alright. Okay, so what's happening here? In line 36 is my name input, and here what's happening is on key up. Oh, mine's too small. And the back seat was a bit small. Let's try this. Better? Or just bad? Like audition lah. Okay, so what's happening here is that on the key up event, meaning when I let go of the key, it will fire an event to this function called on key up. You all know its function, right? I hope you all know its function lah. Okay, I think I see a lot of blur face also lah. Okay, basically a function is something that can process a value. Think of it like your calculus time where you study. It takes in a value, it outputs a value. Same thing. That's a function. Okay, it does something. It takes in a value, it does something. Okay, so this function, what it does is it takes in this thing called event. Alright, that one is another. The event thing is another thing to talk about. But what happens is that this is the function. Okay, and this function, which of course has the same name here on here. So it takes in this event, and on this event we can read the target, and this target is basically the input. Right, this input element. And what happens is I read the value of the input. And the value of the input, of course, is whatever I type inside the text box lah. Okay? What I do then is I assign this value to the HTML. Right? Now, how do I assign it to the HTML? So basically what happens is I have an ID here, span, and then I give it an ID, name output. I get the element, the span by the name I give it, and then I call the property.html and I assign this value into it. Okay, does that make sense? Clear? Or still blur? Okay, still blur. Never mind. This one, if you're not familiar with JavaScript, maybe it takes some time for you to absorb this, alright? Because there's a lot of things that are so-called behind the scenes. You need to go and read the documentation. Okay, but generally, this is how I would do it if I don't use a framework. Okay? This is how I would do it if I were to use pure vanilla JavaScript. Okay? I call it vanilla JavaScript. No flaring, nothing. Just normal ignorance as script. Right?
Sebab idea aku.
Okay.
Idea aku nak tulis kat mana nanti. Tak tahu nak tulis kat mana. Tahu mesti.
Okay, so how can Angular help us in this instance? Okay, I'm not sure whether you all appreciate how Angular help us, but I'll show you all how it will work. Right? Let me copy the template across first. Let me copy this across. Okay, so if you all have installed Angular, you'll probably still need a template. your template will convert here to copy across to the app, right? So who here has installed Angular in their computers? Okay, we got one. Okay, we got a couple here. Okay, so most of the guys who actually knew JavaScript beforehand. Okay, right. So for those of you guys who have installed, have a look at here. Have a look here. So what's going to happen is that I'm going to paste exactly what I did from my little app just now. Okay. Now you have a file called, if you have already installed a version of a new project of Angular, you will have this directory structure here. I know it's a bit small to see. I hope I can let's close this. Okay, wait, before I even go to this, how many of you are familiar with the node environment? Okay, 0. Okay, we have a lot of things to cover there. Alright, so when you install a web app like Angular or React, you'll probably require something called an environment. Okay, similar to how you have a C++ environment, you need something to build your C++ code, something to read your C++ code, and something to output your C++ code. Same thing with Angular as well. Okay, Angular is not like a simple it operates on the concepts of simple HTML files and JavaScript files, but behind the scenes, there's a compiler. There is something like a linker, if you're all familiar with C++, and there's something called the output. Alright, so same thing with Angular. Now, you can see in the folder structure here, there's a lot of files, but there are only a few files that are interesting. So the first one we'll need to look at, well not need, but would be interesting to look at is your package.json. Package.json just tells you what this project is all about. Okay, tells you what I need in this project, tells you how this project is going to be run, all the fun stuff, right? Okay, where you actually do your coding is under src for source. Okay. Now in the source, there's all these files. Now you can configure these files how you want. You can configure these files how you like, but most of the stuff will happen within the file called app. Now, app by default would contain all these top items called app dot whatever. Ignore this window message style. I was experimenting with some other stuff, but don't worry about that. So you have the default files: app module, app component, app component.ts, app component.html, and app component.css. App component.spec.ts is your unit test file. How many of you are familiar with unit tests or have heard of unit tests? Your lecture's not doing a good justice. There you go. Okay, so basically this spec file basically allows you to test whether your code is working or not. Alright? But of course testing is out of the scope of today. But we'll do a basic web application based on what we did on the task we did earlier. Now we're done with the basic folder structure. We'll look back at our app. Now, in our app, actually, if you all are not coding, right, you all can come to the front so you all can see, because I need a smaller text so I can see more. If you all don't mind, you all can actually walk to the front and have a look. Okay. So what happens here? Okay, ignore this first. Ignore this first. Ignore this first. Alright. Just copy across my CSS. Alright, so I copied most of my folder structure, my file across to the Angular app. And what we need to do to run the Angular app is we need to go to our command line. Okay, so Angular actually packages something called Angular command line interface, and it's very useful, especially when you're actually get into the Angular world. Okay, same thing for React, same thing for Vue. Okay, all these three front-end frameworks, they actually provide a command line interface so you can actually build and view your application. So for Angular, so how to start off with the Angular framework? So if you are familiar, if you know how to use the Node.js environment, basically what you need to do is just type ng. ng is basically the command to kickstart your Angular application. So to check whether your Angular is properly installed, just type ng space -- version. And this will be the output. Okay, this will show you exactly what you have in your current environment. So that in case you need to do future updates, you need to do a certain upgrade, you know exactly what you have in your current application. Right? So how do we start? So to start our web server, we need to run the command called ng-serve. And what this does is basically it starts the web server for Angular, and it starts building the files that we built that we coded just now. It starts building them and putting them on our web server. This will take some time. This will take about 2 minutes. But once this ng-serve command is run, you don't need to stop it. Any updates you do to your files, any changes you make to your CSS, HTML, JavaScript will automatically update in your browser. Okay, I'll demonstrate later. Alright, so it's done. So all I need to do is just copy this. Oh, so small. So down here I have a URL that they gave me, localhost 4200. So I need to copy that. I need to go to my browser. Exact same thing, okay? Exact same thing that we see in that we saw in the earlier application, okay? But of course, no functionality, just dumb text boxes, right? Can't do anything. Now, the fun part is to make it work. Okay, now what do we do? First thing is we remove all the stuff that we don't need. So on key up, we don't need that anymore. Where's my ID? I don't need that anymore. This span to display the name output, I don't need that anymore. Let's just move this down. Right? Now, okay. Now what I need to do is basically
nak declare kan? Boleh declare ni kan?
Dia yang PSBP ni dia tetap script. Dia nak kena bitter dulu tapi dia kena bitter.
yeah, just give me a moment. Now for a minute. Okay, sorry. Back. Okay, so similar to what we had earlier, just now we had our on key up event, right? Right? So just now earlier we had our on key up event. Now the difference in the similarity, I mean, if you know JavaScript, you can transfer that knowledge across to Angular, right? So it's a bit different in Angular. So what happens is I need to remove the on. Key up, I need to capitalize it like this, camel case. I need to put it in round parentheses like this. Parentheses, the round braces. Okay, and this round braces in Angular tells me that this is an event, right? And now what I need to do is I need to pass the value from this input into a function. Same thing as just now. Let's just so on the left hand, this is my okay. So JavaScript code, right? And earlier we saw the event variable that was put inside here. In Angular it's a little different. You need to put $event. I'm not sure why they did it, but that's how we need to use it. Okay. But basically, if you see dollar in Angular, basically it means it's something coming from the Angular environment. Okay. So if you see it, so it's something not controllable by you, but something you can use. Okay. Let's just use the event here. This is the okay, let's try this out. So what we have here now is we have hooked up our input, our name input, to this function called onKeyUp. Now let's see the result of this console log. This console log, what it does is it puts it to, it serves the thing to the console. Okay. Okay. This is still the same, sorry. Yeah, sorry, this is still the same. Okay. So what we can see here is that when I input this, you can see there's some events firing in the console, right? So on every key event, every tab that I make, every key up that I make, it will input something out to the console, similar to what we had in the previous example. So what I can do is do exactly the same thing. Then I can get the value. Oh, this one is touchscreen, so we've done here is we are getting the same thing like what we saw in our JavaScript earlier. Event target, we get the value, and now we are just outputting this to console so we can see our results, and we can see that exactly what's happening in the console, right? So we can input and we can see the results of what we input. And how is this useful to us is we can actually assign this value into a variable. So here I've got a variable called name. If you all have done, I think first year students probably haven't done class-based or object-oriented programming. But basically just think of this for name as just name, right? And I can assign this value to name. So that this .name variable now contains the value of whatever was in the input. Now, what I can do in my template is just this. And that allows me to bind to template in Angular. So again, the flow, what happens is I have an input here. Okay, let me just comment this out so it's clearer what I'm talking about. Right, so the name, I enter a variable, comes in, and it takes the value and assigns the value to the name variable. What I do now is I bind the name variable using this thing, using these two curly braces. They call it an interpolation. Okay, so this interpolation allows Angular to detect that I want to bind this variable into the template. Okay, let's see the results. Okay, you see that? So I no longer need my complicated code to manage my state, and this becomes more valuable as your app gets bigger. You may not see the difference now, but because this is actually a very small app, but later on as you build bigger apps and you want to do something called state management where you are managing a lot of variables and a lot of different states, the ability to assign and keep these variables in a central location becomes valuable. But essentially at this point in time, because it's on a very small scale, it looks very similar. Okay? But because now I have this, I can complete my form. Let's do email for now. Right, so it becomes very simple. State management in in Angular becomes a lot simpler when you are using this kind of framework. It allows you to bundle everything within files that are easy for you to track, easy for you to look at. Right? So this is the basic output of how Angular will work. Right? Of course, at this point in time, you may not see the value of it because it's on a very small scale again. But as you build apps that grow bigger in size, that you need to break up into components, perhaps maybe you need a header. You can make that into one component. At this point in time, you can see that this file is named app.component. What I can do is I can just move all these files, all this code into a separate file, maybe called form.component.ts, and it will still work. Right? When I want to just change my form code, I just need to go to that file and I can make changes there. Very simple. Alright? Let's see. Okay, any questions about Angular so far? Or anything about JavaScript that you don't understand, you can ask me. Or everyone's still blur. I think because for Angular, right, the learning curve for Angular is actually very steep. Because you need to know a lot of things off the bat. Like we need to know the node environment, we need to know TypeScript, we need to know Node.js, we need to know what else do we need to know? Yeah, we just need to know JavaScript, how JavaScript works. Okay, so recommended if you really want to learn Angular, start off learning JavaScript, start off learning HTML, CSS. Because if you don't know these things, it's not much. There's not much value in knowing Angular in the first place. Okay? You have to understand why people created Angular, React, and all these other frameworks, so that to ease your pain, right? Now, right? So, any more questions you want to ask me? Especially for those, yeah.
So what's the difference between JavaScript and TypeScript?
Okay, JavaScript and TypeScript. Okay, for those who are familiar with JavaScript, okay, those who are not familiar with JavaScript, I'm sorry, this will go over your heads. So, you're familiar with C++? Okay, so C++ has something called types. Java as well, types. You know types? Okay, so you have types where you can, so for example, you have object class and all these things. In regular JavaScript, you do not have that explicitly said. So for example, let me just go to my previous code. Alright, let me ask you a question. Event got target a value. What type is this? Is it a string? Is it a number? Is it an array? You may be right, you may be wrong, right? You're not sure. You're really not sure, right? That's the problem. Okay? And this is one of the problems that JavaScript faces. And TypeScript was built to overcome this problem. Okay, I think you probably understand how JavaScript works, so I'll give a lengthy explanation. Okay, so how it works is that TypeScript was actually founded by Microsoft, and the idea of TypeScript is to implement a higher, kind of like we call it syntactic sugar, or basically something extra on top of basic JavaScript, so that developers like you and I have something to reference by. So let's say in your code, you assign name as string. Okay, maybe something more confusing. Okay, ID. Okay, we all use ID, but ID can be a string, can be a number, right? But let's say your ID is a number, but somewhere else in your code, you might assign it as a string, right? And later on in your code, you're trying to read it as a number. What happens? Something's going to break, right? There's going to be a problem. TypeScript helps to solve that. It tells you that you can't do this. You can't assign a string to a number in the first place, right? So what happens in the end, the TypeScript actually doesn't get transferred to the browser. Okay. Or what happens is that, remember I was talking about compiler in the background for Angular. So what that does is it takes the TypeScript code, it looks at it. Okay, I convert all of this into normal JavaScript. That's all it does. Okay, that's the only difference. Basically,